Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes ball. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Flash in the shot. What a goal!
Good evening, Wolves fans. I hope you're all doing well on this nice, cold Thursday evening in December. I thought I'd catch you off guard and start a little bit early because we're just so excited about getting Premier League football back in the next couple of weeks. But we've got Gillingham on Tuesday in the Carabao Cup. We'll be discussing that tonight, along with Wolves' recent Marbella trip, the two fixtures against Cadiz and Empoli. As you can see with me on tonight's show, I've got Jeffo nicely refreshed after his little breakaway. And if you can just look to the bottom of your screens today, we've got two very, very questionable characters properly in the Christmas spirit. Stuart's gone all out with his Christmas hats. I think he's got two on there. And I've got Josh with me. How are you, Josh? How are things in the world of Lem?
I'm all good, mate. All good. Keep smiling. Can't smile wide enough.
We did make the comment off camera that you're basically Stu 10 years younger, which is not a good description for anyone to have. Stu, how's things with you? How have you found the World Cup so far?
Oh, I've loved every minute of it. I mean, it's what I said before, and as soon as the football started, all the nonsense just faded into the background anyway. And actual stuff on the pitch, loved it. Loved every minute of it. Even the 0-0s. I think there's one or two that were a bit shit, but other than that, I've loved every minute of it. And I'm going to say, Josh, the excitement levels when Mick Schumacher was announced as reserve driver for Mercedes earlier on.
Love it. The vibes are there.
Drop a comment or a like in your bottom left if you're a Formula One fan, just so I can block you from my Twitter feed. Guys, obviously we've got Gillingham coming up on Tuesday. We've had two fixtures in Marbella against Cadiz and Empoli, but one of the biggest news since our last Wolves predominant episode is the fact that Wolves have mutually agreed the termination of the contract of cult hero Leo Bonatini. What were your thoughts on that, Jeff? Or did you actually forget that he was still at the club?
No, I'm caught up, man. Leo's a a hero. He's up there with the likes of Paul Gladden. They supported. They were the backbone of local business. Paul through the restaurant industry and Leo through other channels, shall we say. We won't go into it too deep. But no, it's a shame to see him go. I mean, he was brilliant in that first half of that championship season, and just a shame it kind of fizzled out and he couldn't do anything in the Prem. But he put in the hard yards for us, and I don't begrudge him sticking around and earning some money after what was a rather bemusing decision to give him a new contract, but that is what it is.
He pretty much earned that new contract, didn't he, based on that first half of the season, because his goals that first half of the season was so integral in us getting over the line in the latter stage. What were your sort of favourite memories of Bonatini for you, Josh?
I think it's got to be the Middlesbrough goal. Obviously, it was like the first one in the Nuno era. Yeah, I think that one sticks out quite a lot. But other than that, Preston where he scored two. I mean, other than that, I can't remember anything else. Where did it all go wrong for him? I can't remember. Like, he was so red hot form start of the season. Then he had that one against Blues, which just went over the line. That just like sucked the confidence out of him.
It was when they started talking about that he was going to break the record of 7 consecutive games scoring for Wolves, and it was close to beating some 40-year-old record set by someone. And it all went tits up after that, didn't it? And for some reason, I've got the feeling that we spent £5 million on him after on promotion. And it was like, well, that's just a complete waste of money. Obviously, it was small change promotion-wise, but still, £5 million. And how many games did he play in the Premier League? About 6, 7?
Did he score against Sheffield Wednesday in the cup when we went up? Was that his last goal?
Was that the one?
We beat him 2-0. I think that's that was the last time he scored for us. I remember him scoring that game. I don't know why.
I know Pedro Goncalves played in that game.
Oh, and Costa and did that fancy flick, and Vinagre and was like, oh my God.
You can't knock him. He did have one Premier League assist to his record for that Adama winner away at West Ham, our first away win in the Premier League under Nuno.
Yeah.
True.
But all in all, he'll be a footballer that comes up in Wolves trivia in years to come, and he'll get will occasionally smirk about his winner against Aston Villa at home and the iconic Mikey Burrows Bonatini commentary.
You've got to think as well, in like 10, 15 years' time, how many like little Bonatinis are going to be on the academy books? Because, I mean, the spreading the seed, and he was like a flower, that bloke. How he got himself around the place. But yeah, I think the female population of Wolverhampton will miss him more than football boys will.
Their batteries will be less consumed having to avoid his Instagram DMs. We've got a few comments already. Haley's asking Stu, what are you wearing? If you're an audio listener, please try and have a look on our YouTube channel and see what Stu's come as today, and give us a brief description in the comment section of what you think to his attire. Kerry Green, thanks for joining us. Kerry Green joins us tonight and says Wolves are going to go down. Let's keep that optimism tonight.
Let's go.
I'm missing watching the last episode of White Lotus for this, so all the optimism is greatly appreciated. Lottie in the comments, the players are getting better. I think we'll play good. Let's hope we can score some goals. What did you make to the first game away in Marbella, Josh? The 1-1 draw against Empoli.
I got to be honest, I did not catch it. I didn't. I just saw everyone on Twitter overreacting, and then we drew one. And then I saw we drew one. I was like, really? After all that, but now I saw good things. Like obviously, people were really happy where we played and whatever formation we were trying to play. With Costa playing at like left wing and stuff, but. What can I? I don't want to read too much into it, like either pre-season game, because it's just like we did this 6 months ago and that literally ended in tears. So I don't know what to say. Just no one got injured. That's the positive I look at it.
What did you make to it, Josh?
No.
Oh, sorry, Jeffo. I had Jay in my head. Sorry.
Nah, that's all right. Yeah, it was good. I thought it was a good test. I thought it was nice to see Gonçalo Guedes get played in a position that where he showed his best form when he was at Valencia, when he was playing just off the strikers. It's just a shame that it meant that Diego Costa had to go push wide onto the left wing, because it just made him non-effective and it made him really aggressive. I think it was during any game he probably would have been sent off in that first 30 minutes. But it was good. You could see what like Lopetegui's trying to do, trying to bring back the attacking fullbacks, which is nice, and just to try and make an aggressive Wolves team and a team who can counter press, and catch teams on the break again, and be ones that make these quick transitions and utilize the players that we've got and try and get the best out of people like Adama Traore, and it's good. It's good to see, and I think the backlash that we got sort of from some fans after that game was really bemusing, because I watched the whole game and I didn't see a lot of the bad things of what people were saying. I didn't understand it. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And like you say, Josh, it's early.
Sorry, you can see the picture on your screen there. Hugo Bueno got the goal against Empoli. I'm not really sure how best to describe it. I'm going to go with what Triple X20 says. There's 3 virtual girls chat in your city. It was a brilliant strike, wasn't it, Stu, by the left back? I was quite surprised that he started over Ryan Aït-Nouri in that first pre-season friendly, but he has deserved it on his recent performances. But that left back spot is probably up for grabs between the two at the moment, with Johnny Otto appearing to be injured.
Yeah, appearing to be injured or just being left out of the spotlight for being so bad for months on end. Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me in a way of Aït-Nouri's goal against Palace when he kind of arrived on the scene out of nowhere. Yeah. Just the ferocity of it. And I like Hugo Bueno. I think he's been one of the standout moments of our terrible season so far. And looking at all the training stuff, it did seem like Aït-Nouri was going to get the nod. And yeah, he obviously played in the second game. And you're right. I think out of all the positions in the squad, fullback / wing back is the glaring place where anyone could play there and no one could have any arguments. Because it's took a kid to come in and claim it for his own out of nowhere just because he had his PE teacher in charge for a few months, and he's been our standout player, and he looked great again. Looking like we talked about a lot before the break, how he hasn't been sucked into the Wolves' doom yet. He's still raw, and he hasn't been cursed. So if we play, and Hodge as well, to be fair, more so in the second game, but like you felt, I don't know why people get so worked up about friendlies at any time. Like, what's the point? It doesn't matter. It's a glorified training game, and this one especially was. Look, was it the same place we went in the summer? Because it looked like it. I know the second one was played in some kind of construction site. Well, God knows what was going on there. It looked like, when you, in LMA Manager, when you had the stands being built in the background, it was like that. But you can't take these games seriously.
He's probably too young for LMA Manager, Stu.
He knows what it is. He's like
champ 2002 onwards, probably.
He's educated.
Even that's a little bit like before my time.
I hate Josh at times.
It was a good run out, and the fact that certain things are being put in place, like Jafel said about Guedes, playing there. Obviously Diego Costa's he's not our first choice. We spent significant money on Guedes, so playing where he's supposed to be, and you'd hope that Núñez would be put in his actual position as well when he comes into the team as well next week. You'd think there's more positives than negatives from a friendly against Empoli in December, so I don't see what the problem is with people.
It was important not to have another defeat, although obviously the main consensus was disappointment at the draw against Empoli, who I felt were going to be up for it after we punished them by giving them Catrone on loan. But obviously, was it yesterday we beat Cadiz 4-3. Julian Lopetegui has sort of mixed between a couple of formations during those two games. We started off with a 4-3-3 against Empoli, and then obviously he switched back to the 3-4-3, 5-2-3 sort of formation under Nuno. What was your thoughts on that formation lineup, Stu?
Good. We haven't got the players still. We thought we had the players to play 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. They've yet again shown themselves to be completely inept and not able to do things properly. So we've had to resort to going back to a back five. And if that's what it takes to get us out of the shit, then so be it. And I think it's better doing it this way and having at least two formations, maybe three formations that you can switch between rather than just being nailed onto one every single week and no flexibility whatsoever. Because, I mean, I know we'll come on to it, but I doubt very much we're going to play a back five against Gillingham. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. So, but we mentioned with the fullbacks getting forward properly and not just kind of sauntering around about the halfway line and getting caught. It's nice to see like the old ways are back again. And it's took an actual proper manager to do that after Bruno completely lost his mind.
One of the players that stood out for me in yesterday's game was Hee-Chan Hwang. He was very impressive for South Korea in the World Cup. Heung-min Son was well off it. I thought he was a standout player for Korea, who was unlucky in their defeat against Brazil. Did he finish 4-1, Brazil?
Yeah.
Because that game to me was not a 4-1 scoreline. Alisson had one of the best games in a Brazil top for me. What did you make to Hwang's two performances, Josh, against obviously Empoli and Cadiz?
It's nice to see him actually have a good game. I think you kind of got to bury that shit a little bit as Wolves fans. I mean, that's easier said than done. But like, we got to kind of bury that and just get behind him. I think it's always nice when like a new manager comes in because it's kind of these unknowns that can happen. Someone like Hwang, it's a great opportunity to like the past is behind him now. He can hopefully kick on a bit like look at Alma on at Newcastle is the most comparable thing where you think let's kick on now. Hopefully he can score a couple of goals, but let's hope. The thing is, I do look at Hwang as well. I think he never gets the service. I mean, like that goal he scored for Korea. has he ever had that sort of chance apart from like the first 3 or 4 games when he played for us off someone? He never gets given the chance to like finish. So I think it's really hard to say. I just hope we all get behind him again, and he could make the difference. You can just see after the Villa. We have to vilified him after Newcastle at home. You can see him scoring the winner to keep some Kai or something like that.
But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
He has been played like as a kind of back to goal striker, which he's absolutely not.
Yeah,
and
so,
it's completely. It goes along with the whole theme of playing players out of position or playing them in the wrong way, and it's all.
Is what I play with Frank.
It's almost like it's too easy to just leave them where they go. Don't piss about. Just play them where they want to play, and magical things happen. And look what happened in the and he looked for Korea how he looked in the videos that we saw before he signed, because he played.
I made the comment in our WhatsApp yesterday, Stu, that I'm literally bored of seeing strikers in a Wolves shirt now play 90% of their games with their backs to goal.
Yeah,
I want to see players like Hwang and Guedes running channels, getting in behind defences, because even if they don't get on the end of it, if we can just get the opposition's defence line just a few, like 5, 10, 15 yards deeper than what they should be, so we can get our team up as a unit, surely it's a lot better than just having Raul just lingering on the wings doing nothing. Or I still, even like watching the 2 games this week, the Cadiz and Empoli games, that Diego Costa for me still so far off it. I didn't think he looked that. I didn't think he looked too bad when he first joined, considering how long he'd been out. But now he looks rusty. He looks like an old man to me. And I was hoping with like the 3-game ban that he had before the break and this little pre-season warm up that he'd be a lot sharper. And to me, he's still so far off it that I'm quite thankful that we're being linked to strikers like Matheus Cunha at the moment, because striker and centre half for me is the areas that we need to be focusing on really heavily at the moment. What's your thoughts on Matheus Cunha, Jeffo?
I think he's not had the best time at Atletico Madrid. I mean, we can all see that. But if you look at the way he plays and as a striker, he likes to pull wide. I know you just literally said you don't like that about Jimenez. But if we look at how we lined up against Empoli and how that position that Diego Costa took, that's something that would work for Cunha, because he could occupy that space and allow Guedes to come through. And as you say, what you want to see, run with the ball and break lines. And if that's the formation that Lopetegui thinks he's going to get the best of the players, and that's with this group of players, and I think it probably is, because I think that would get the best out of Matheus Nunes as well. That he is the profile of player that you want, and these sort of versatile forwards, there's not many of them around. And if we are going to bring him in, he's going to cost a lot of money, but he has the right profile to suit that sort of gameplay that you would see. We was trying to see against Empoli with what Diego Costa was trying to do, and I think that's where you could see a benefit, and you could see the qualities coming in and actually scoring goals and assisting goals and creating chances for Wolves, and I think that'd be a great move.
And you got to think as well.
He has also been linked with moves to Arsenal and Chelsea, hasn't he? Obviously, Gabriel Jesus is out for 3 months for Arsenal. Armando Broja's had a season-ending injury in the last couple of days, so we're not saying Matheus Cunha is imminent or even close, but from the reports that you read, Wolves do seem to be heavily interested in him. And like I said, any striker that we can add to this squad surely a benefit, Stu.
Yeah, and I don't take much notice of his goal scoring form where he is. I mean, it's the athletic attacks and everything like that comes with it. They don't exactly score bucket loads, do they? And you look at Jimenez himself. I mean, his record was poor before he came here. We made him who he is. So he's got the kind, like Jafar said, he's got the kind of profile that we need and we kind of begging for. And he's not like all the other wide forwards that we've got who don't do anything. He's got something more about him. Maybe it's the shiny new toy syndrome. I don't know, but we need something. And we can't. I've said many times that if we go into February with this squad, we are relegated anyway, regardless of who's in charge, because they're not good enough, and they've shown they're not good enough. So, being linked with the caliber of players like this is giving me more hope than I had pre-Lopetegui being appointed.
What were your thoughts on the performances of Collins and Kilman, Josh? Because I've got my reservations about them two as a two-man pairing at the moment. Obviously, Totti Gomez was brought in yesterday for a bit more security, but we just don't seem to have the reliability as a unit defensively like we have done in years gone by. Do we now?
It's really hard. It's such a hard decision. It's hard to say as well because I think you look at them. It's like on paper they look like a really good pairing. You know, Kilman was fantastic last season. I know it was in a five and things like that, but both of them together, it looks like it's got calamity written all over it. But I don't know about particularly going to back five. I don't know. But it's hard to say. Well, I need to see us competitively. I think that Everton game's massive, and I won't be surprised if he goes to Everton, plays five at the back, plays for points because obviously if they lose them 7 adrift then, and that's I know it'll only be like the 16th, 17th game season. That's a lot of points to try and claw back. But I think it's just hard to say. I think we need to sign one. You know, just going back to Cunha as well. I'm not particularly convinced. I'll be honest. Not for the price that we've been linked with. And I saw like they did a good article on the Athletic about him. His like profile and did like a little data piece on him, and he looks okay. I've read some nice things like he's a really good presser, high volume, really successful in the press as well. But I just look at it, it feels like it's another player who we don't know what his best position is. It's like Guedes, we don't know if is he a winger, is he a striker, Huang winger striker, Pedence winger 10. He just feels it's another one. He doesn't look like a number 9 to me. He doesn't look like a 10. I don't know what his best position is. And it's like it's a lot of money to spend on someone and when we've already got a lot of the same thing already going on at the club.
What's your sort of current mindset with Jimenez at the moment, Jeffo? There was a lot of talk, a lot of anger, disarray about him going to Mexico, but I don't know what your opinions of Jimenez actually been there. Mine was before he left, he was clearly nowhere near fit to be playing for Wolves. When he arrived at Mexico, there was a couple of videos that showed that he was nowhere near fit to be at that tournament. So the amount of rehab time that he's been able to do with Mexico, whilst we've been on a break in Wolverhampton, he's managed to somehow get some minutes for Mexico, and now he's come back maybe 50, 60% fit. Do you still think that he should have been here doing his rehab, or should he have gone to Mexico?
To sum up him going to the World Cup in a word is disappointing. I think the club have stood by him for a long time. You know, and that injury, however horrific it was, the club stood by him. The club helped him, rehabbed him, and now I don't want to say he's done it because it's his last hurrah or anything for Mexico, but it just seems as though he's put his international career in front of us and what we're doing, and we're trying to survive in the league. And now he's put himself in a position, like you say, he's 50% fit, he's 60% fit. You know, he's going to get struggle now. He needs game time. He needed to really play 60 minutes against Empoli and 60 minutes against Cadiz, but he can't do that because he's abused his body for the past month by going to a World Cup and being with Mexico, and that's just unacceptable. And I think if it was anyone else, I think the club would have come down a lot harder on it. But I think it's because it's Raul and everything that he's been through in the past couple of years and the support that he's needed. And you know, there's things coming out of him maybe being a bit depressed over not being able to play for Mexico and things like that. I think it's a weird one. The club can't do a lot. And like I say, I'm just disappointed that he chose to go and be with Mexico, even though it is probably going to be his last World Cup. But the problem is now he's not going to be fit till February or March, and that's not going to help us. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to go into the market. We're going to have to spend money, because if not, we're going to have to play a 36-year-old Diego Costa who has played 3 or 4 games properly since January, and that's not good for the club, and it just doesn't look good on the squad, and it doesn't look good on the bunch of players that we've got there, because we can't put other players in there. Like you say, Huang can't really do it, and the other group of players that we've got, they ain't up to it, and they ain't up to playing as a number 9. And Raul, when he was in his pomp, like you say, Stu, we made him this goal scorer. He was unplayable. He was unplayable. And how do you replace that without spending 40, 50 million pounds on a player? And him to take this precious rehab time and throw it against the wall by going to play with Mexico has just been spitting in the face of the fans, essentially, and it's really annoyed me. And I'm probably not coming across that I'm that angry about it, but I am.
I think you are
disappointed. I don't, maybe, but
I
am.
mean, the phrase "spitting in the face of the fans" was quite evidence that you're very disappointed. Do you feel the same about that, Josh?
I've got to say, I don't know if it's because he's my favourite player or whatever, but it really does not ask me that he's gone. Like, for me, I look at it and it's like, we all sacked him off before and we don't want him to play for Wolves anyway. He buggers off to Mexico and then we remain in anyway. So it's like, what do you want him to do? It doesn't ask me.
The guy can't win, but the club and himself haven't done themselves any favours with the lack of communication, have they?
Yeah, and I think that is a valid point about like the lack of communication. But like I say, they want it both ways. We want Jimenez to never play for us again. He's crap finish. Get him out of here. Send him on the first plane to Mexico. He goes to away with Mexico, and it's like, no, got to play for the club. What's he doing? Let the club down. I don't know. For me, it just doesn't.
He should be playing in the Pontins Reserve on a Tuesday night, not Mexico in the World Cup.
Get him into the 21s.
I think
Stu, throw the last nail in Raul's coffin for why he shouldn't have gone to the World Cup.
I'm not going to. I think it's a damning indictment of the farce of the whole club this season. The fact that what happened I was literally going to say what Tom said there for the audio listeners. The fact that the stories about him being misdiagnosed came out and then the doctor was sacked off, let alone being all the other stuff that was going on with getting players that clearly weren't fit or injured and playing them again. And then you had the stories that Jordan said on another podcast about certain players signing and they weren't fully fit when they're signed. And you think, well, what's been going on? And it doesn't take a genius.
Was that the Anfield Wrap?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. Red all over. And it don't take a genius to realise that the Lopetegui's come in, realise that all this shit's gone on and half the staff are gone. What's that all about? Everyone who's inept or we've been told off for suggesting he's inept, Sellers, fucked off. Dr. Death, gone. And so if you're thinking from a player's point of view, if you're thinking and you're being told by your national team doctor who you trust, not some chancer who's been there for 2 years, who's fucked up and admitted in an official Wolves video that they have been useless, by the way. This is not just hyperbole. They said it himself. He said it to the camera and they released it. It was unbelievable. But the fact that he's trusted his national team doctor and they've come back and said, you were misdiagnosed, I think, what the hell is going on? If that's the case, then you're going to stay as far away as possible and get fixed. So now all this has come out, I don't blame him one bit. Do I think he should be playing? No, because like Josh said, he shouldn't have been playing all season long. We should have had signed a proper striker in the summer. Yet again, pissed about, didn't do it, and look where we are now.
It just feels like Jeff Shee's Neo, and he's just constantly dodging bullets for me. And like you said, Dr. Death took one. Scott Sellers has took one. Jeff Shee's managed to get Dalrymple and Kevin Felwell out of the club in the last however many years. It just feels like Jeff Shee's just constantly in the chair learning kung fu and all this other stuff that Neo did, because he's dodged so many bullets for me. I mean, Wolves have even let strength and conditioning coach Sean Miller go in the last week. He's gone to join Everton. Don't know if any of you seen that. He was quite key in the Wolves' lack of injuries during the Europa League season when we were playing like sort of Thursday, Sunday. So it just makes you wonder who's actually making the decisions in the senior level of our club, and is that person out of their depth? And that's why I keep saying I think he's dodging bullets. What's your thoughts on that, Jeffo? Am I just rambling, or is there a substance to what I'm saying?
I think you're probably right. I think Jeff Shee, we all know when he came in, he didn't know anything about football. He might have been a football fan, watched football, but he'd never been involved in the game. So when he came in, there was an over-reliance and leaning on people that he knew, and that's where leaning on Mendes a lot for advice and came in. And he hasn't utilised the time as well as he should have done to improve his own knowledge of the game and improve his knowledge of running football clubs, because there have been quite, as you say, quite blatant mistakes that have been made and can be levied against him. And at the end of the day, the buck ends with him. He is the guy who runs this football club. He is the guy at the top of the tree. And it's that old age, the adage of shit rolls downhill, and nothing can stick to him because he's like a Teflon Tom when it comes to it. And hopefully it changes. I wouldn't mind seeing Jeff Sheech be taken out of the equation. I think you said, Stu, probably a few videos ago or a while ago about him, put him in charge of Wolves records. I know that whether that was you or Luke. just take him out the firing line. But there's nobody within that hierarchy who's got football knowledge. I mean, maybe the guy from Ibar could be, the break that's needed between Yulen and Jeff and Yulen and the rest of the directors at Wolves, because you need somebody who can talk to these guys who haven't got knowledge and explain to them, okay, we're doing this and this because of this. Because there hasn't seemed to be that, and I think a lack of a footballing director. Scott Sellers, great. Yeah, what's he ever done in football? He's been a manager of a League Two club. The guy from Ibar.
Oh, see, Jeff Shee's got him. Killed him off.
Jeff Shee's hacking the channel, guys. We've lost Jeffo. We'll try and get hold of him in a bit. Hashtag prayers for Jeffo.
What he was saying about the guy from Ibar actually building a club from nothing over the space of 13, 14 years, he's spot on, though. And if he's coming here as just an advisor, then you got to think, well, okay, we've got someone who knows what they're doing on the board now, at least. Well, not necessarily on the board, but on the staff. I mean, we had someone here who's actually got a degree in business stuff in Olifinjana. And I know he was sent out to Switzerland for a bit, and I don't think he's there anymore. But still, he's within the framework. He knows the club, and he's got actual brains. So someone like that, it seems a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say, Stu.
The whole situation around Olifinjana is a bit odd, to be fair.
He seems to be a useful individual, Olifinjana. I mean, he was looking after the guys who are all out on loan, essentially working at Grasshoppers, because that's where all our players seem to go. But he's been this intermediary, and during this time, these players who've gone out on loan, especially some of the youngsters, have really progressed quite well. When they come back to Wolves, that's another story, like Alec Connor, Ronan, and et cetera, et cetera. But when they've been out on loan, they've done well, they've progressed well, they've got good minutes, bar a few cases like Catrona and people like that. But you think that has been a success, and that is when you promote within. And this is when Olifinjana should have been given a chance within the club. Maybe he should have been given a role, maybe over the academy or something like that. And this is a failing of not being able to put the people in the right position. So that's what I'm hoping. Like you, after my internet died, you quite well said, Stu, that people who know what they're doing and have a proven track record can put the right knowledge into the right place in the football club. And that's all that we're asking, is that we utilise the people that we've got in the club to do the right thing for the club. That's all we ask. And that's the simplest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like Jeff's learning like ad hoc daily at the club. And hopefully with this move I said from the off that Lopetegui wasn't going to take this job on unless he was given assurances he was going to have a majority of say of decisions, whether it be on the pitch tactically or with recruitment. Obviously, Fran Garagaz is obviously the intermediary between the two. He's brought in a lot of his own backroom staff. He's kept Tony Roberts in charge. I believe he's got sort of two goalkeeping coaches now, so I think it's a bit odd, that one. It feels like Tony Roberts has been kept on more as a Conor Cody cheerleader type than a main goalkeeping coach, but we'll see how that unfolds in the next few weeks. Josh, as I keep disgruntlingly say, you being that much younger than us, put yourself in Connor Ronan's shoes for a moment, and you're constantly seeing Joe Hodge get minutes ahead of you. Are you asking your agent to maneuver a move out of the club in January?
I don't know why we kept him in the summer, really, apart from the fact that we had no other choice because we got no options. I don't see why we kept him. He'd had a good season up in Scotland. You could have probably sold him to like Celtic or Heart to someone like that for a couple of £1 million. I mean, he's obviously clearly not favoured. That's Bruno never really gave him a chance. Obviously, I think Davis and Collins were more inclined to work with Hodge because they've used him before, so you can kind of understand that. And then it's quite clear that Lopetegui also really likes Hodge as well, which is quite nice to see. But obviously, it's at the detriment of Ronan. But like I said, at this point, you're just playing him and keeping him on the books for no reason. It's not like you're ever going to call upon him. I think even if Neves, Moutinho and Traore's legs all fell off tonight, he still wouldn't get a game for us. So what do? You just got to get rid of him.
It just feels like a girl that we go on the occasional date with, but you know you're never going to end up with her permanently. And it's sad to see because he's got the qualities of a great midfield girlfriend, but he's just got too many players ahead of him now, and I feel like we're just abusing him from a long and good that he could elsewhere. I feel really sorry for Conor Ronald because he's definitely a player, isn't he?
For like the few reasons: Man City away, then through balls to Bakare, okay, obviously, and then getting his shirt swapped with De Bruyne. And for me, Arsenal, was it Arsenal or might have been Brighton? Brighton at home, where he come on for Neves. He come on, first touch of the ball was going to be to take a set piece off Neves, and then he didn't beat the first man. It was like written in the stars. I think it was Brighton.
Yeah, no, I feel really sorry for Conor Ronald. Hopefully, he can go and have a good career because, like I said, he's definitely got the technical ability. He just feels like he may fall into the Jack Price type of midfielder where he's too small to be a proper number 8, but he's just missing maybe that little bit of pace or athleticism as a number 10. As I mentioned at the start of the show, we've got Gillingham on Tuesday in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Based on the two sides that we've put out from the start against Empoli and Cadiz, do you see many changes to that lineup, Stu? Where do you see Neves? Does he jump straight back in the first 11 for you?
Oh, I think he'd be on the bench personally. I think it'll probably be something 4-2-3-1 wouldn't surprise me. With say Moutinho and Hodge kind of holding, and then a front 4 of pick whoever you want. They're all the same. I think there's, like I said earlier, there's no way.
Sorry to interrupt you a second. What's your mindset with Ruben Neves not starting, Stu? Because obviously he's missing or lacking match because he's been playing in the World Cup. To build his squad, surely he wants to be playing his best players from the off against Gillingham.
I just don't think I don't think you need to play him against Gillingham. I think obviously the Everton game is more important. I know it's 6 days later and whatever, but still, you're playing. Use Moutinho for what he's supposed to have been used for in the first place this season as kind of like a spare part and not a first choice every week. And if you're playing them two, then you could play a midfield 3 of Bouba Traoré, Núñez, and Neves against Everton, and we've got actual players that we could rotate. Gillingham are the bottom of the league fucking 2. We don't need to be playing our best players against them. And even saying that, you've still got your players like Hodge, who is Jack Price 2, and Moutinho, who against opposition like that should be completely dominating them anyway. And then if you're playing, say, Diego Costa up front with Prudence, Guedes, and Traoré Adama behind him, then you're going to win about 5-0 regardless. So I just don't see the point in playing players who are going to be seriously important to us against cloggers. But they are. They're fucking awful.
Just say
I can't believe you think we're going to score 5. Oh my god!
What's in that beer, by the way, Stu?
It's just,
what are you drinking?
It's actually
that's the bit that's going to viral, isn't it?
You put it.
That's the bit that's going to go.
Parapet,
Stu
man.
calling
Your head's
Gillingham
way.
cloggers as we fall to a 1-0 defeat.
Oh man.
That's getting clipped.
Yeah, well, you can clip me out in a little box drinking with his hat on. Come at me, Kent.
Cloggers.
Come on, we Kent.
You know what? We went to
Who is
Gillingham
known
once.
for you against Gillingham?
I didn't even hear what they said then. What did you say?
Carry on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just laughing to myself. I couldn't hear you then.
It was who leads the line against Gillingham.
Oh,
Who leads the line for you against Gillingham?
Yeah, Costa. I don't think you can play.
Yeah.
I don't think we got any other choice, have we? Really? Jimenez is nowhere near it. He shouldn't be even in the squad, really. And unless you're going to be playing our under 19 superstars, then it's going to have to be 36-year-old Diego Costa, which again against them should be fine. He should get his first goal.
Yeah. If he can't score against Gillingham, I think that's
has he?
it's just all over.
He's got no how.
But yeah, the only thing
Would
I'd
there be
probably
no
change,
sort of inclination to go with a front three of? Sorry, Jeff. Can you hear me? I was going to say a front three of Adama, Guedes, and Wang.
I can see a benefit of it, but I think playing Wang in that number 9 is exactly what we were saying earlier. He plays his back to goal. It doesn't really suit him. I think when we're playing them, we get the most out of the game by playing a proper number 9. So yeah, like you said, Stuart, Diego's got to play, and if he doesn't score against Gillingham, I know we're joking about it, but he's better hang up his boots and just say that's it. My career's done. Because I ain't gonna call him what you call them.
Yeah, I'll put my neck on the line like that.
Yeah. No.
Stand dead.
I was going to say.
Has he got?
What is it, boys?
Gillingham they've played 20 games. Mm-hmm. They've got 14 points, a goal difference of minus 18.
How many have they scored?
6.
Oh my god.
They're fucking awful.
Someone's worse than us.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. Not even doing it for reactions.
Wait for the.
We're going to lose on penalties, aren't we? Some outrageous now.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go dark if anything bad happens to us now.
Oh, cloggers.
That's it. You're done. If we lose, career's over. You just finished.
Bunch of cloggers. If Martini has one of them.
Well, I mean, he's to be fair to Martini, I thought that the ball that he put in for his one assist in these 2 games was pretty superb, really.
We scored off like a semi-set piece, didn't we, as well? So that was like impressive to see.
Yeah. Dan's gone for the audio.
I'm going to say it.
Dan's gone for the Leslie Grantham effect.
What does that mean?
Do you know who Leslie Grantham is?
No.
He was an actor in.
You come on, Josh. You know who Dirty Den is.
I don't think he would have done it. It was about 15 years ago. He was an actor. He used to be in EastEnders. He was in Minder as well, and he was. He's dead now, so it doesn't matter. But he got caught on the webcam jacking off at this exact same angle, but he had no top on either. Merry Christmas.
When I set this episode up at the start of the night, I did not think we'd be talking about Leslie Grantham jacking off.
It is.
But anyway, let's focus on Gillingham on Tuesday night at the Carabao Cup. Give me your score predictions first. I'm going to come to you first, Josh. Score prediction for Wolves Gillingham.
No, lose on pens. No, seriously, I'll go 3-0.
God, we can't lose on penalties to the cloggers, lads.
3-0 Wolves. That's
Stu, what's your score prediction?
5-0. I'm being deadly serious.
can't believe you said that.
You know when we lose,
I'm
like,
literally broken.
you know when we win like 1-0 by the skin of our teeth, we're going to be like, are we the cloggers now, meme or something like that.
You know what?
Yeah, I'll go 1-0.
If we absolutely slaughter them, and I'm going to become some kind of soothsayer again, no one's going to become cheering me on, are they? No one's going to be coming on. That we're all expecting the abuse to come. There's going to be no praise. It's not how this world works.
No, it doesn't, mate.
Yeah, Mystic Megson. That's what you are, lad. No. I think it'd be
I'm gonna screenshot this later. You wearing that Christmas hat, Stu?
We're
going to make some sort of Mystic Meg sort of imagery based on that hat because I'm lost in a bit of inception now where I'm watching myself on my phone, watching myself on the laptop, talking in my earphones, but hearing it on the lap. I'm having a bit of a mare.
This is what happens when you slag off Jeff Sheehan.
The only other news that came out in the last couple of weeks was that we've got Liverpool in the way in the FA Cup. 8,300 Wolves fans at Anfield on a Saturday night, 8 p.m. What's your thoughts on that game? Can we cause another upset against Liverpool? Jeffo?
Yeah, it's going to happen again. And you're going to get the Andy Vyman no-look finish all over again. It's going to be Raul Jimenez redemption arc into the fourth round.
Twangy Vyman.
Yeah. Twangy Vyman. There you go. You just did it. There's another clip ready to use. But yeah, 100%. I think we can do it.
That's the podcast title already saved when we beat Liverpool 2-1.
Yeah, I can't see why we can't. Liverpool are nothing to be scared
What's
of.
your thoughts against Liverpool, Josh? Fancy us?
I'd rather us win against Villa in the game before that in the midweek or beat United at home. You know, I'm going for the day out, but that's about it. If we win, bonus, but I think, we've got 3 games in a week, 4 games in 10 days, so I'd rather us win a couple in the Premier League than win one in the Cup.
Stu, will you be making the trip to Liverpool, Stu, or did you say you're not making that one?
If I can get in the upper tier, I will, because I've never done it, and obviously it's been demolished at the end of the season. Just so for that reason, and that reason alone. But obviously that we've only got the lower tier to start with until that sells out, so it's kind of like the balancing effect of do I do it or not. But to be fair, I probably will end up doing it just for the fact that we're leaving at 12 o'clock. And it's going to be like 5-hour session on the pitch. Do I do it or not? But to be fair, I probably will end up. Full on Inception all round here. How could he be so far behind though? That's what I don't understand.
Anyway,
come on,
I'm going to go with 2-0 against Gillingham and 1-0 against Liverpool in the FA Cup. I'm going to have to end tonight's episode because it's getting really messy. Speaking of messy, Argentina, France on Sunday. What camp are you in, Josh?
I'll win either way. It doesn't bother me. Messi, good for the goal, but I love Mbappe, so it doesn't bother me at all.
King Enzo Fernandez.
What camp are you in, Jeffo?
King Enzo Fernandez, mate. Argentina for all the way.
Stu.
Can I just both be kicked out and just cancel the whole thing?
So that's Mickey Misses.
Yeah, I don't care. I'd rather, you know what? I'd rather Morocco win the third place playoff because it would mean more to them than that. I care more about that game than the final. Just for it'll mean more to that country and obviously that whole continent, the way things have gone. But when I was saying earlier in the week that siding with the Argies is a bad thing anyway, obviously. But then again, after them singing songs about England, pushing it a bit, I just hate them both, man. I don't care. I honestly don't care. If we get an entertaining World Cup final, and that's all we can hope for, really, because that rarely happens.
There was quite a lot of sympathy for Morocco going out to France, but the route that they had, the extra time against Spain, it just caught up with them in the end, didn't they? But there'll be a few Moroccan players that'll be joining the Premier League based on their World Cup campaign. we're going to end tonight's show, as I said, because it's getting a bit messy. Thanks for joining us on the Wolves Fancast. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like this episode before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This episode was brought to you by 90min.com and Pixel Yeti Media. I'm just going to say, allez les Blues. Good night. Good night, everybody. Trying to end the broadcast. But my laptop's having a mare. Bye.
This is after he said it's getting messy after looking like Dirty Dan. Well,